Big question here on Morning Kick Around. It is Wednesday, August 27th. My name is Robert Kerr. He's Jason Davis. USL League One, the third division in the United States soccer club pyramid, is going to have 7 new sides play in there next year, including one that was just called USL Eugene until recently, but we've recently discovered we have a team called Sporting Cascades FC hitting the Eugene area up in Oregon. There you go. There is the badge. What do you think of this launch is the big question today.
Okay, so, and we got an explainer on this, so stay tuned for that. Logo explainers are always fun in American soccer. It's not terrible, Rob. Like I'm not like, oh my God, it's such a hit. It's so great, but I'm also not mad about it. I don't know about the 2 different weights, and I guess those are 2 different fonts for our word mark here. It's only 2 colors. Well, I guess 3, technically, right? 3 colors. They're not, the brown is a choice, and maybe we'll get to that. I don't know. I guess again, sporting. Why sporting? Now, I know it's been a long time, and we've kind of made our peace with it because you just get used to stuff. But remember when Sporting Kansas City changed from the Wizards? And we were like, oh, okay, sporting. Well, you know what that word usually implies is that you're not just a football club. You're doing other stuff. You got a rugby team or I don't know, whatever, a basketball team.
Yeah.
And I think that there was even, maybe because they realized, there was even some things put out by Sporting Kansas City at the time. We're talking about what, 12, 13 years ago at this point? More than that, 15 years ago at this point. They were like, we're actually going to partner with the local rugby team and to have a team play under the Sporting Kansas City banner in rugby. And then they never happened and do that. They're like, no, we're a soccer club. What are you talking about? So that part, that's weird. I don't know. What's your first impression of this?
It's simple. It almost looks like a rough draft, a first idea or part of the creative process. It doesn't look like a completely 100% finished product, in my opinion. I know they have plenty of, boilerplate stuff to explain their decisions, but in my opinion, it's fine. It's okay. It's, nothing that smacks me in the face of like, this is sick. And it's not awesome either. I'd say it's somewhere in the middle, maybe a little bit light on, it doesn't quite look 100% finished.
Here's what it is. It is. It's one of those badges that they're not going to take back because we get badges, we get brands that are so bad. The club's
safe is the word.
Whoops. We screwed up. We got to go back. What was it? What was the Boston thing before they went with Legacy? What was that?
Yeah, that was
terrible. Everybody, I barely remember it, which is good.
Legend City or something like that.
No. It was Boss Nation. It was Boss Nation.
Yeah, there you go. Boss Nation. And it's no Chicago Fire Triple Crown either.
Right. Well, that was a logo and not a name at the time. But yeah, I mean, this feels like one though that is so down the middle that there's not going to be any pressure to retract it and start over again, which I guess is fine. You really don't want to screw up that badly, but it's not so great that you're like, you know what, this is going to be a hit. People are going to be scooping up the gear. You and I, and this is actually coming up. We'll tease this coming up on Friday. We're going to talk to the filmmaker behind Up the Hearts, which is the documentary series that's on YouTube about Portland Hearts of Pine and their launch. And they nailed it so much up in Portland that people that have no connection to Maine, have never been to Maine, don't know where Maine is on a map, think it's part of Canada, are like, I got to get me some Portland Hearts of Pine stuff. That gear is incredible. That does not feel like what's happening here with Sporting Cascades. I said Lane United because that was the USL 2 team. They were called Lane United. Let's look at the badge explainer because these are always good. We got the peaks. So there's the Cascade Range, hence the Cascade name, and that's, I guess, Eugene is there in the Cascade Mountains. Colors, deep Cascade blue. Is that a thing, or they made that up? Strength and depth. The blue conveys strength and depth, Rob. River Valley brown, roots, soil, and authenticity. Guys, you cannot put the word authenticity in your badge explainer when you're brand new. You just created this out of whole cloth. How
authentic to what? Authentic to what?
Yes. How is this authentic? Maple white. I've seen a lot of whites. You know, I did renovate my house a couple years ago. I've seen a lot of different shades of white. I've never seen maple white. Warmth, approachability, and space. Space. All right.
So the primary tagline for this new club: born sporting, fire fed, water driven.
And they have two taglines. They have another one.
Yeah.
Currents unite, which
I think that's better than the first one in my
really
mind.
no, man, I don't know. Like, okay, so like I feel like I'm being mean, and I know it's so hard to do this and do it well. I don't know, man. Here's a little bit more. A crest shaped by place is what this was said on the USL website. Crest design intentionally simple and strong. At the top of the shield, it mentions the peaks and then the lines for the rivers. I guess there's two rivers, the Mackenzie and the Willamette, that meet in Eugene and Springfield, Oregon. Typography. It says FC pays tribute to football tradition. Okay.
Well,
Our
the tradition is
soccer.
Lane FC, right?
Our tradition is soccer. What tradition? Why are you tapping into a foreign tradition? Like we are so in our heads about this. We can't get over the FC thing. I will credit any club who chooses to go with soccer club because that's what we call the sport here for the most part. And again, I don't know, born sporting, fire fed, water driven.
That's something. And we're talking about authenticity, and wouldn't those sort of taglines come with like the supporters, you know, coming up with things in their own, and the terraces, so to speak, or in the fan groups associated? I feel like that would be authenticity. But I actually am curious what the tagline in Latin would be, because you know a lot of the historic naming in different areas is like, what is for any Latin experts out there, what is born sporting, fire fed, water driven in the old language? That
well, I just mentioned earlier in the show, if you're watching this individually, this segment, you'll don't know this, but individually, earlier in the show, I mentioned Sheffield Wednesday, and they have a motto on their badge, and it is Concilio et Animis, and it means by wisdom and courage. And I guess maybe that's, I don't, it's in the design. I guess it's also part of I don't know if that's part of Yorkshire, part of their history. I have no idea, but they have that in their badge. And that's cool. I mean, you know, you'd be creating it out of nowhere, but I don't know that born sporting can be translated. How do you what is sporting in Latin? I don't know.
Sportus bornus.
Okay. Born sporting has no meaning. None. What does that mean? That means you were born running, like out of the womb.
My mom said running? I was athletic.
Right. Exactly. Fire fed. Where's this fire coming from? Are you a dragon? Oh, the dragons breathe fire. They don't eat fire. Who eats fire? Water driven.
Performers.
When you say water driven, I'm thinking like a mill or something. It's just, is that got a lot of mills there? I don't, maybe they do, right? I'm not trying to be dismissive. It does say captures the region's volcanic power and river forged resolve. All right. So water driven is like, we've got rivers and they matter. And then fire fed is that there's volcanic stuff. All right. I don't know. All right. Because we love our listeners and our viewers, shout out to your man, Luke, who has asked us to shout out his high school program, Walled Lake Northern. Big win last night, 8-0 on the road against Waterford Kettering. Let's go Knights. All right. Shout out to high school soccer there. All right. Last thing here about Sporting Cascades. And we've reached out, and maybe we will get somebody on the show. John Gallus is one of the guys behind this. He was part of Lane United. He's part of the new team. Not the owner, but the sporting director and the connective tissue. And you said you caught him on Glenn Crooks' show on Sirius XM FC, or you caught a clip where he was talking about some stuff. And I've seen him out there in the media, and maybe we'll talk to John. And hopefully he won't be too mad at us about the badge stuff. But there's also this, Rob. So Michael Batista, who writes at Hudson River Blue, covers lower division soccer in America, has written on the Cosmos recently. He shared this on Blue Sky. USL Eugene, now known as Sporting Cascades FC, used AI in promotional images. He says he tried to ask about it, that they blocked him. The upcoming USL League One team is seemingly deleting comments of anyone who brings it up on Instagram. And you can clearly see that those fans are AI. There is no stadium. Hasn't happened yet. Clearly it's AI. It's, created by a computer. And down at the bottom, and I didn't pull the individual images because I didn't want to make too much of a thing out of this, but down at the bottom right, you can see what looks to be a rendering of a stadium. But if you zoom in, it's very clearly that this is AI as well, because the words never get done right in AI, Rob.
Very rarely.
So I have issues with AI, all right? But I don't want to make my issues Sporting Cascades issues. So do we have an issue with, I mean, I don't think deleting comments is ever good. I don't think that's a good move. That doesn't make you look like you're open and willing to engage.
That's not authentically listening to the public, and that's one thing that is a test, especially for any public facing person or entity. But I mean, this is hard, like you said. Creating something out of nothing seemingly is hard, and you're going to have to. Part of the difficulties is hearing criticism, and stifling that and deleting things is probably not a good way to start. You could acknowledge, I appreciate your feedback or something like that, but deleting them and blocking, not a good way to go to start it off. The AI thing, you'd think that, like, obviously, the buildings don't exist yet, so you got to kind of form things together, and maybe that just kind of leads to, maybe they're cutting some corners, or maybe they really wanted to get some imagery out for this.
But man, that is the problem, right? So I understand that it's tough to stand up a brand new soccer club in America. Like, I get that that's hard and it costs money. And sometimes you're going to have to skimp and be careful with your cash and all that stuff. Right. And like I said, we're watching up the Hearts and the story of Portland Hearts of Pine. And, I don't know how much money they have behind them, but they seem to have put some effort into some things, and they got a local designer to do their badge. And this local designer tapped into the history of Portland and identified things about Portland that he can incorporate in his badge. And it is unique, and it speaks to them and all those things. And in this case, I mean, the badge is what it is. Again, it's inoffensive. Maybe it's not the worst thing you've ever seen. It doesn't feel special. And then you have this. And I don't know, how much would it cost you to find a local artist and say, hey, can you do a rendering? Can you draw us what our stadium might look like? So a digital artist, somebody who does work with computers to create art, but isn't using AI. Can you help us out here? And maybe it's an in trade thing. Like, this feels like cutting a corner that doesn't need to be cut. Or at the very least, you need to show how authentic, you want to use that word, how authentic you are as you build this out. If you truly are doing the work necessary that we've talked about, that Peter Wilt has talked about, that the Portland Hearts of Pine people have talked about, that Chattanooga and Detroit and all these places have talked about, that you have to do the work to connect with the people that are going to be your supporters. You can't just pop up with a badge and say, we got a team, come out and see us. Doesn't work that way. Yeah,
and you got to make it feel important too, right? If this was really important, getting your word out there, displaying what the new stadium situation is going to be. I know that on this show, I've used AI image generators for jokey things, just like off the cuff.
And I was uncomfortable even with that, Rob. I'll admit to it. I was uncomfortable with it. It was funny, and we've kept it in the right context. But even I was like, I don't know.
But launching your brand new team that you're hoping is super successful and lasts forever, hopefully you'd make it seem important by having some real drawings, or at least holding off on the AI stuff until there is something real to draw and just describe the plans. It just seems like an unnecessary thing to do.
I don't want to give anybody too many ideas because of my discomfort with this technology, but you could be creative with this, right? I see that there's an initiative. The White House and the First Lady have an initiative out there because they're pushing AI, and it's like, hey, kids, be creative with AI. Find a way to use this technology to create something amazing. Okay, again, I don't like that. But if you are willing to make some concessions to the fact that AI is here, it's not going anywhere, and maybe we need to learn how to properly use it. Hey, here's an idea. Go to your potential fan base. Go to your supporters. Go to the people of Eugene and Springfield, Oregon, and say, hey, we want to see what our stadium might look like when it's all done. Does anybody know how to really engage with this? First of all, you could just ask people to create their own renderings, or you could say, hey, we're going to use AI, and this is a way to kind of get a vision of what their future might be. And hey, why don't you go out and figure it out, and we'll pick the best of it, or we'll find one that looks like what we want to see, and then we'll celebrate the fans who are dreaming about their future while we recognize we don't have everything lined up yet to properly publicize this team. Or maybe we don't have the official renderings that make you get excited for a stadium yet. Whatever it is, man, it's just frustrating. These are simple things. This is not rocket science, Rob.
No, it's not. I mean, it's not super easy. Being creative is difficult, and there's a lot of stakeholders in mind. And as we wrap up, go to the comments. Wade, he's saying just say a normal American team name like Eugene Elk.
Okay, sure.
Which is kind of funny. And then Luke in response, Eugene Elk that actually slaps Woodbye up the Antlers gear. And thank you again, Luke, for the super thanks and the shout out to the Walled Lake Northern boys win last night. But yeah, up the Antlers, a fun tagline, maybe more than the
Antlers up the Antlers. Yeah. Let's go. Come on, Antlers. Come on, Antlers. Let's go. I love that. Yeah. Something. I mean, again, we're just throwing stuff against the wall, and maybe again, it's the people of Eugene, it's the soccer fans of the region who should have the biggest say in all of this. And we don't know how engaged any of that happened. Like, we don't know about that engagement yet. So hopefully at some point there's a conversation around this. I think it's very reductive for me to say, go pay attention to what Madison did initially, what Portland Heart Supply did initially, pick 3 or 4 or 5 other clubs that have found a way to connect directly with their fan base and create something of a phenomenon. But yeah, that's kind of it. And from what I can tell, it's not like those clubs are like, we have to protect all of our ideas. Nobody else can use them. I think for the most part, we're all in this together, and we're like, guys, let's figure this out. Let's make a thing happen that benefits all of American soccer. Let's make the league strong. Let's make the club strong. We have promotion and relegation coming in the future, because there's no quicker way to turn people off than to make them feel like you're just barely doing what's necessary, that you're not fully invested.
Yeah, you need that full investment, and the continuation of the conversation here continues. Doesn't seem like during the live show we have anyone from the Cascade area, the Eugene area, but definitely, obviously, on YouTube, these segments are on demand. Please fill up the comment section if you're from the area and you have some feedback or some reaction to the Cascades name or the Antlers name or the use of AI for the launch of the new team in your area. Definitely fill up the comment sections there.